Who were the Moabites? Well, before the discovery of the Moabite stone in 1868, the only record of the Moabites was found in the Bible. And like many ancient peoples that have disappeared from history, there was some doubt that they ever existed. The earliest records of the Moabites are found in the Old Testament account of Genesis 19. It's surprising to note that the Moabites actually belonged to the same family line as the Israelites. You see, their ancestral founder was named Moab, who was the son of Lot. Now, Lot was a nephew of the Israelite patriarch Abraham. The Moabites settled on the east side of the Jordan River in what is modern-day Jordan. They shared a common border with Israel, and there was constant friction between the two nations. But because of the family connection, God told Israel that they were not to destroy Moab and take their land. One of the most famous stories in all the Bible is about a woman from Moab who became the grandmother of Israel's greatest king, David. Her name was Ruth, and you can read her story in the Bible book named after her. Now, what is really amazing is that David, and eventually Jesus, came through the family lineage carried by Ruth. Another famous Moabite was King Eglon. When Israel rebelled, God allowed King Eglon to oppress and rule Israel for 18 long years. His story is recorded in the Bible in Judges chapter 3. These Bible references were considered inaccurate until one of the most important archaeological discoveries was made at Dibon in Jordan in 1868. They discovered what became known as the Moabite stone. This basalt stone bears an inscription of Mesha, king of Moab, from about the 9th century BC. It's a 34-line inscription that commemorates a victory over the Israelites that re-established the independence of Moab. The finding of the Moabite stone verified the Bible records. It proved that Moab was indeed a nation during Bible times, a nation that was related to the Israelites and yet enemies. So, why is it important that we know about the Moabites? Well, the Moabites are important because of the lessons we can learn from their experience. Also, the archaeological evidence of their existence demonstrates the reliability and trustworthiness of the Bible record.
Just a little taste of what they're hiding in this $4,000 book. This is from the 1500s. But we weren't everywhere though, right? Shalom.
Moors and Hebrew Israelite Canaanites are both of the same people nations called Moabites.
Because most of the masses don't get religion. And that's not an attack on anyone, that's just simply the truth.
But the Hebrews say that it's not a religion.
But listen.
Yeah,
let's
nationality for them.
Let's come.
Say.
I'm not arguing that.
Right.
I am saying we are the same people. We, the Moors of the North Gate, are referred to as the Ibri. which some people call Hebrew. It is no Hebrew, it's Ibri. That's those of us who crossed the river. It cannot be emphasized enough. There is no difference between us and our brothers and sisters on the other side of the water after the land's separated, except some of us are mixed. Those who crossed the river are the Ibri, falsely called Hebrew.
Why is there a tradition in parts of the Spanish-speaking world, like in Cuba, where people historically would answer to the term of moreno and morena, which is a reference to Moors? The term Moor is in it. Your personhood, you're brown, a brown sister, morena, brown brother, moreno. Historically, if somebody called you a negro, they were trying to piss you off, because it was understood that they were essentially calling you a slave. And when you look at the record, why would Native American peoples fight so hard to avoid from being defined as Negroes? No, I'm not, I'm Cherokee, I'm Choctaw.
and chief among the provinces. And in this way, Italy and Greece and all the western provinces became filled with Idumeans.
You know why that's so heavy? Damn. It's telling you not just Rome were Edomite, but who else, brothers? The Greeks. The Greeks. You got these Israelites that say, oh no, that's Japhet. Yeah. They don't know history. They know nothing. Right. The scholars say those were Edomites. They took the place of the ancient Greeks. Right?
Thus, it is that the prophets called the whole of that nation by the name of Edom.
That's how the prophets call them. Called Greece, Italy, the Western world, Edom. That's what the scholars know that. You get these little peon Edomites and Christians, they don't know a damn thing. So a lot of it makes no time even trying to debate them, trying to talk, leave them alone.
Check this out. This is J. Edgar Hoover, head of the FBI for decades. He is seen here wearing the fez. On his fez is a crescent moon and star with a scimitar sword above it. According to C.M. Bay, the crescent moon and star represents the Moorish woman and child, and the sword above it represents the persecution of the mother and child. The crescent represents the mother or widow in Masonry, as well as the institutions teaching Islam among our people in this hemisphere. The star represents the child, so-called new Moors, those being born into Moorish science. I, self, law, am master. These are the 5 universal symbols of Islam, the 12 signs of the zodiac, the science of the Moorish nation of the Order of Islam, North Gate, North America, founders of civilization.
An 1800s book, What is Truth, by Ebenezer Burgess, says that the Jews who remained in the Jordan Valley after successive conquerors of Syria for ages were described as being as black as any of the Ethiopian races. Also in year 110 CE, Roman historian Tacitus wrote, "Many assure us that the Jews are descended from those Ethiopians who were driven by fear and hatred to immigrate from their home country when Cepheus was king." Jewish sociologist Georges Freeman, in his book, The End of the Jewish People, pointedly states that the Europeans who are claiming to be Jews are nothing more than Hebrew-speaking Gentiles. The late president of Egypt, Gamal Abdel Nasser, stated on television, "You, the Jews, will never be able to live here in peace because you left here black and you came back white. We cannot accept you."
How do we know Jesus wasn't black? He could have been from the lost tribe of Israel. They were supposed to be black.
I bet they were. If ever people were lost, we're it.
Okay, so
the thing about it, how in the hell can we go to our people trying to tell them that we should all unite, come to one? If it is Israelite, whatever it is, brother, you still my brother. I don't want to cause
absolutely, I agree with that.
I don't want to cause no bloodshed. I love what you brothers is doing.
Right, but let me ask you something, brother. What if I came out here and I was a Satanist? Would you still be my brother? Would you still be with me if I was out here telling people to worship Satan? Any nationality. Brother, seriously, if you truly say you believe and y'all believe some of the things in here, I know y'all like to jump and skip and say, well, that's true, but that's not true.
Sounds familiar, no?
We're reading from Psalms 147, verse 19 to 20. You asked me a question, and I answered you. The Bible tells you that his prophets, those that have this word, are Israelites.
That's right.
Yes, sir.
I have no question there, brother.
You have no question? We up here to answer questions, brother. We up here to teach our people, brother. You need to be taught right now, because y'all are following a false God.
That's right. Okay, but only thing I'm saying there, brother, we out here, we are basically on the same, we on the east side trying to uplift our people over here. Is that right?
His word is let's see, you just said something, and we're going to see what the Bible says. Read. He's showing his Psalms 147, verse 19 and 20. Read that. Psalms 140, verse 147, verse 19. Now watch this, brother. This is what happens whenever we deal with people. For some reason, their attention span becomes weak, right? Then all of a sudden, they don't want to deal with the context of what we're talking about anymore. Then they try to jump from subject to subject. So we're going to deal with what you just said. I want you to pay attention. I want you to give me an honest response after we read this. Read. He's showing, Psalms chapter 147, verse 19. He's showing his word unto Jacob. Unto who? Jacob. No, Ishmael. Jacob. No, Moab. Jacob. The Hekawaset. Jacob. He showed his word, this Bible, unto who? Jacob. Come on. And his statutes and his judgments unto Israel. God gave his word to Jacob, his statutes and judgments unto Israel. Read. He had not dealt so with any nation. Read that again. He had not dealt so with any nation. What does that mean?
Black man.
Did God give this Bible to any other nation? Was there any other prophet that was not in Israel? I'm going to deal with you, brother. Hold on for a second. I want this man to deal with his words that he just said.
You still haven't answered my question.
Brother, read this again. God showed his word unto Jacob.
His word.
That the Bible speaks. Listen, what y'all realize is what you see before you right now is the real children of Israel. God's chosen people.
Right.
Hold on a second. Please. What's happened right now is we're done with your lies. We're done with your Christianity. We're done with your lies concerning Jesus Christ.
Right.
And we picked up the Bible for ourselves and actually read for ourselves. One second. Give me Romans, the 3rd chapter. I want the 4th verse.
Look at you.
Listen to the Bible, since we're entertaining this right now.
Romans chapter 3 and verse 4.
Come on.
God forbid.
Read.
Nay, let God be true.
What we have done is we have said to hell with the so-called white man's doctrines, to hell what we were taught over here in the land of our captivity. We're going to let God be true. Read.
But every man a liar.
Every man a liar. We're not going to believe anybody. We're going to believe what's in the Word of God.
Let me tell you about blacks and Latinos. There's no difference with blacks and Latinos. When you see the same messed up schools, the same hospitals, and if you come together and stop separating the two, you will see that the power in numbers will get us exactly what we need in the hood. Don't fight your brothers and your sisters. We won. No matter how you look at this thing.
This is nothing new. We've been knowing this. But nobody comes and says, hey, let's follow the Bible for once. All right? We done tried to do what everybody else says. Read it from the top again. Thus said the Lord of hosts. The Most High God is saying this thousands of years ago. What will happen?
The children of Israel.
The so-called Hispanics, read.
And the children of Judah.
You so-called American blacks.
Were oppressed together.
We in the hoods together. We walking around blind together. Right. We walking around getting gunned down together. Right.